The Miami Dolphins need to blow it up. For these past 2-3 years, they have done nothing but regress and have gotten worse. But since they have gotten worse, it seems like they haven't adjusted at all. You know what I'm saying? They're still trying to do the same philosophy that they've been doing since the start. In all honesty, they're off-brand Chiefs. Given that you have a bunch of speed around your quarterback position, but the only difference is you have a quarterback that doesn't have an arm, that can't throw the ball like Patrick Mahomes, and can't get the ball into different places like Patrick Mahomes. And if you really look at it, the Dolphins and the Chiefs are really pretty much constructed the same way. It's just Patrick Mahomes is able to do things that Tua can't do. And that brings me to my next point, in which Tua is not the answer. I think it's definitely time for either the Dolphins to move on from Tua or move on from Hill. Because either way I look at it, those two do not mesh well together. Tua, like I said, he's a quarterback that doesn't have a strong arm. But then on top of that, he's not a dynamic runner. He's not like Jane Daniels where he adds another level to their offense. And on top of that, he's pretty much injury prone. All the injuries that he's had over these past few seasons, and basically how he's played up to this point, he hasn't panned out. Hill is a receiver that likes to stretch the field. He's more of a threat when he gets into space and, basically uses his speed as his main strength. But given that Tua doesn't have a strong arm, that limits Tyreek Hill's ability. But it also limits Jalen Waddle's ability, who was supposed to be, their wide receiver too, who's supposed to be the next up behind Tyreek Hill. And if you look at how their team's constructed, their team is constructed off of pure speed. And over the years, teams have found ways to neutralize that speed, to make that speed a non-factor. This is where Mike McDaniel comes into play, because Mike McDaniel as a coach hasn't adjusted to that strategy. This team relies on pure speed, and when teams take away their speed, they become a non-threat. Because Tyreek Hill, besides his speed, he's a mediocre receiver. Not saying he can't do anything. The only reason he's dangerous as a receiver, or he's a major threat as a receiver, is because of his speed. Same thing with Jalen Waddle. But I wouldn't necessarily put it all on the offense, because their defense is also terrible. But I think the defense has more of a bailout than the offense, given that the defense has faced major injuries, especially to some of their core players like Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. The whole model of the NFL, especially for defense or any position really, is next man up. Every team battles with injuries. They're not going to get better, especially given on how this team is constructed, given that this team is a one-dimensional team, and once you take away that one dimension, they're basically nothing. But the only thing that separates the Chiefs from the Dolphins is the fact that, as far as offensively, is the fact that they have Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes can make throws that nobody on earth can make. You know what I'm saying? Especially given his arm. So you can pretty much surround him with speed, and his ability, his skill set, goes right along with their identity. Once you take away their speed, you have Patrick Mahomes, a quarterback that can improvise and make something out of nothing, basically. But the thing is, with the Dolphins doesn't have that. You take away their speed, they don't have a quarterback that can improvise and think quickly on his feet. You get Tua off his spot, he is not the same quarterback. And actually, he may be one of the most ineffective quarterbacks, like when you get him out of his comfort zone. For these past 2 seasons, especially the beginning of this season, Tua, a lot of times you see him, he's panicking. He's rushing, he's forcing throws. Even sometimes when he does have a open receiver, or he has a window to throw it, he ends up overthrowing the receiver. Now, Tua definitely did play very well in this past game versus the Bills, even though he had the interception at the end of the game, which was pretty much a good play on the linebacker. But overall, Tua hasn't played well at all this season. Given the amount of money he's making, it's definitely going to be hard for the Dolphins to try to get rid of him. His money is not matching up with his production. You know what I'm saying? At this stage of his career, He's supposed to be establishing himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the league. In which instead, he's regressing each season. There's no excuse for Tua to play as bad. Even though this past game he did play well against the Bills, this should be a reoccurring thing with Tua. This shouldn't be one of his best games of the season. He's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Making more than Patrick Mahomes, who's arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Because he definitely reached that discussion, which he's not even in the same realm as Patrick Mahomes. Not even close. He's supposed to be in the conversation with the Joe Burrows, the Lamar Jacksons. Their bad game is Tua's best game. I do think that, most people, they're putting the blame on McDaniel, but I don't think it's solely on Mike McDaniel. Now, I'm not saying none of it is on him. He's definitely playing a part in it. But how this team is constructed, with most of these players being one-dimensional, it's going to take a head coach to come in and change the whole, scheme of the team. And bring in new personnel to really create a whole new identity. Which it could be with Tua without Hill, or it could be Hill without Tua. This team right now is going nowhere fast, and yeah, it's definitely time for the Miami Dolphins. Their prime has come and gone. I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Do those 3 things for me right now. I really appreciate it. It's free. You don't gotta do too much. Just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button right next to it, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.